Have you ever heard a noise so strange it made your blood run cold? A sound that simply shouldn't exist? For the residents of one small, quiet town in the spring of 1973, a sound like that was just the beginning. They were about to come face to face with something that, to this day, defies all explanation. This isn't just another spooky story. This is the baffling case of the Enfield Horror. The state of Illinois in America is a land of contrasts. You've got the sprawling metropolis of Chicago, but venture out from there and you're in a different world entirely. A world of dense woodlands, vast farmlands, and winding rivers. It's the kind of place where local legends are born and whispered for centuries. Long before modern America, people told tales of the Piazza Bird, a monstrous creature with horns and a serpent's tail that would snatch people from the riverbanks. More recently, there have been countless stories of a Bigfoot-like creature, a hulking, hairy beast that stalks the southern forests. Known by different names, the big muddy monster Momo, but always described in the same terrifying way. Now, skeptics will tell you that these are just stories, campfire tales born from a mix of folklore and mass hysteria, a trick of the light, a bear on its hind legs, your mind playing tricks on you in the dark. And maybe they're right, but in 1973, in the small town of Enfield, something appeared that couldn't be so easily dismissed. It left footprints. It left claw marks. It was seen by multiple credible witnesses. And it wasn't a Bigfoot. It was something else entirely. Something with 3 legs. Our story properly kicks off on the evening of April 25th, 1973. A local man named Henry McDaniel and his wife were just getting home, probably looking forward to putting their feet up after a long day. They lived a little way out of town, a peaceful spot where their 2 children could enjoy the outdoors. But when they walked through their front door that night, peace was the last thing they found. Their 2 kids were hysterical, absolutely terrified. Through their tears, they told a frantic story about hearing a scratching at the front door just an hour earlier. Thinking it was just a stray animal, they'd opened it. What they saw wasn't a badger or a fox. Standing right there on their porch was a creature from a nightmare. It had, they insisted, 3 legs, a short, stumpy body, and 2 enormous eyes that glowed like torches in the dark. Before the boy, Henry Jr., could even process what he was seeing, the thing reached for him with long, clawed hands. Pure instinct kicked in. He slammed the door shut, grabbed his sister, and they bolted to their bedroom, hiding there until their parents got home. As Henry Sr. listened to this unbelievable tale, he suddenly became aware of a noise himself, a faint, persistent scratching coming from the other side of the front door. Convinced it was just some wild animal and that his kids' imaginations had run wild, he decided to teach them there was nothing to be afraid of. He strode over to the door and pulled it wide open, ready to shoo away a raccoon. But it wasn't a raccoon. What he saw, illuminated by the porch light, made his heart stop. It was about 4.5 feet tall, covered in a matted, grayish fur. Its face was dominated by huge, pinkish eyes that seemed to stare right through him. It had 2 short arms ending in vicious-looking claws, and its squat body stood on 3 powerful legs. Just as his son had, Henry slammed the door shut on the grotesque visitor. He yelled at his wife to get the children safe, then grabbed his .22 rifle and a torch. Kicking the door open again, he saw the creature moving away, heading towards the railway tracks that bordered his property. Without a second thought, he raised the rifle and fired off 4 shots. The bullets hit home, but to his utter shock, they had no effect. The creature just stopped, turned, and let out an enraged hiss that sounded like a wildcat's scream. For a terrifying moment, Henry was certain it was about to charge him. Instead, he watched in total disbelief as it crouched down on its 3 legs and launched itself into the darkness, covering 50 feet in just 3 impossible leaps before vanishing into the trees. He started to give chase, but realized he couldn't leave his family alone. He ran back inside and immediately called the police. When the state troopers arrived, they found a family in a state of genuine shock. Henry explained what happened, telling them how fast it moved, how his bullets did nothing. The officers were understandably skeptical, but the evidence at the scene was hard to ignore. There were deep, long scratch marks on the house's siding and on the front door itself. The next morning, investigators took photos and plaster casts of the footprints it had left behind. The prints were like a dog's, but with 6 toes, and they were arranged in a bizarre pattern, suggesting 2 main feet and a smaller third one set slightly behind. Something had definitely been there. But the McDaniel family's ordeal was just the start. While the police were at the house, they got a call. All hell was breaking loose back in town. Another group of officers had been sent to speak to a 10-year-old boy named Greg Garrett, who told them a story that had happened just half an hour before the McDaniels saw the creature. He'd been taking a shortcut home through some alleyways when something heavy and squat had burst out of the darkness, knocking him flat on his back. He described a frantic struggle with an unseen attacker that hissed like a snake and slashed at his shoes with its claws. He'd managed to break free and run for his life. When he got home, he showed his mom the deep rips in his trainers, with 2 separate incidents on the same night. The local sheriff, a man named Roy Pashad, knew he had a problem. He advised both families to keep quiet, fearing it would cause a town-wide panic. He probably hoped the whole thing would just blow over. Unfortunately for him, Henry McDaniel wasn't about to stay quiet, especially after he saw the creature a second time. A few weeks later, at 3 in the morning, Henry was woken by his neighbor's dogs, barking their heads off. Still on edge, he grabbed his rifle and went outside to investigate. There, by the railway tracks, caught in the beam of his torch, was the same gray, 3-legged shape. This time, it hadn't seen him. He just watched it for a few minutes as it moved calmly down the tracks before. Once again, it bounded away into the night with those incredible leaps. Fed up with the lack of action, Henry went straight to the local radio station and told them everything. As you can imagine, the story exploded. The town went into a frenzy. People from all over the region flocked to Enfield, hoping to catch a glimpse of the monster, with many of them armed and ready to be the one to bring it down. The situation was getting out of hand. Sheriff Bouchard's breaking point came when he got reports of shots being fired near the McDaniel place. He drove out there to find a group of 5 hunters, all buzzing with excitement, pointing into the trees. They told the sheriff they'd seen a gray monkey-like creature and had opened fire on it, but their bullets did nothing, and it just leaped away, finding no evidence of any creature. A frustrated Sheriff Pochard arrested all 5 of them for firearms violations. This time, the news reports had the opposite effect. The threat of getting arrested was enough to keep most of the monster hunters away, much to the sheriff's relief. And just as things were starting to calm down, the creature made one final, bizarre appearance. A radio personality named Rick Rainbow decided to do his own investigation. He and a few friends were exploring a derelict old house not far from the McDaniels' home when a squat, gray figure suddenly appeared from the ruins. The moment it saw them, it let out a haunting, high-pitched cry, leaped straight up into the air, and then bounded off into the forest. Rainbow and his friends gave chase, but they couldn't possibly keep up. But here's the crucial part. Rick Rainbow claimed he'd been carrying a tape recorder and had managed to capture the creature's terrifying shriek. He later played this tape for a renowned cryptozoologist, Lauren Coleman, who confirmed it sounded like no known animal on Earth. Coleman even traveled to Enfield himself, photographed the claw marks on the McDaniel house, and reported hearing strange banshee-like wails in the woods at night. And nothing. After that final encounter, the sightings stopped. The creature, whatever it was, vanished as suddenly as it had arrived. It left behind a trail of physical evidence, terrified witnesses, a mysterious audio recording, and a whole lot of unanswered questions. So, what on earth was stalking the town of Enfield? Over the years, the official explanations have been wheeled out. One university study concluded it was a classic case of mass hysteria, where a few initial witnesses misidentified a normal animal, and media hype caused everyone else's imaginations to run wild. Others claim it was an elaborate hoax, perhaps cooked up by Henry McDaniel, who is known to be a bit of an eccentric, maybe to wind up the local sheriff. This theory was bolstered when the young boy, Greg Garrett, later recanted his story, saying he'd made it up as a joke. But these explanations don't quite fit. Mass hysteria can't gouge chunks out of a wooden door. A hoaxer would have to be incredibly dedicated to fake those bizarre six-toed tracks all over the place. And would a man really risk damaging his own home and terrifying his children, all for a prank? As for the boy changing his story, who has to say he was indeed pressured into it by adults who just wanted the whole circus to end? If it wasn't a hoax, and it wasn't hysteria, then what was it? Some have suggested it was an escaped kangaroo. That would explain the powerful jumping, and its large tail could have been mistaken for a third leg. But a kangaroo doesn't have 6 toes. It doesn't typically hiss like a wildcat, and it certainly isn't bulletproof. Others point to a strange case from the 1940s in a nearby town, where locals reported baboon-like creatures mutilating cattle. Could the Enfield horror have been one of these mysterious apes? Of course, there is the most chilling possibility of all, that the creature wasn't an animal we would recognize. Its unnatural biology, its incredible abilities, and its sudden appearance and disappearance have led many to believe it was something not of this world. An alien visitor, perhaps, or an entity that slipped through from another dimension for one brief, terrifying month. We will likely never know the truth. The Enfield horror remains one of America's most compelling and strangest unsolved mysteries. Something truly bizarre visited that little Illinois town in 1973. It left a permanent scar on the community, And a question that half a century later, we are still asking, what was it? The mystery of the Enfield horror is one that will probably never be solved. But what do you think? Was it a wax? A misidentified animal? Or something else entirely? Let me know your theories down in the comments. And if you enjoy diving into these unsolved mysteries, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more strange tales. You never know what's lurking in the woods. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your night. May you find deep peace and restful sleep. Wishing you the sweetest dreams. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.